recognize Dr. Orlando F. McMeans. He is currently the Chancellor of Southern University Agriculture Research and Extension Center and the Dean of the College of Agriculture, Family and Consumer Science in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. He began his position on September 1st, 2019. That's not too long ago, sir. He is also a full tenured research professor in the College of Agriculture, Family and Consumer Science. He began his employment at West Virginia State University, then West Virginia, in November 1998 as the Department of Land Grant Program Director. Orlando F. McMeans served in many capacities while at State. He served as the Vice President for Research and Public Service, where he was responsible for promoting and advancing research and public service activities and initiatives. He was the Executive Director of West Virginia State University Research and Development Corporation and the Dean and Director of West Virginia State Gus R. Douglas Land Grant Institute. In addition, Dr. McMeans continues to be a full tenured research professor of biology at West Virginia State University. Now, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Orlando F. McMeans, Chancellor Dean of Southern University Agriculture and Extension Center.
Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Thank you, Dr. Phillips, for that introduction. And again, welcome to the 12th Louisiana Small Farmers Conference. I was just telling someone earlier, it's good to be back in a city where the board voted on my contract in the same hotel we're staying in. So this brings out good memories. It could have been bad memories. But as I think about this conference and the 4 of the states I lived in, none of those states had a conference dedicated to small, disadvantaged, underserved farmers. And to be in Louisiana to see Southern University Cooperative Extension Program directing and coordinating and facilitating such a program, it brings me joy. And I was bragging, I was in Mobile last week visiting my mom, and I was just bragging about the fact that we have this program, and I challenged my colleague at Alabama A&M, which is my alma mater, Dr. Laura Walker, to try to do something similar because we have a lot of minority farmers in Alabama, and I hope that they can take something from us. And I hope that those of you, welcome back, those of you who I talked to that I've seen last year, even last year I was able to recruit a student from one of you all. So welcome back, and those of you who are new to this, welcome. And so we're looking forward to the next couple of days, having some good sessions. We have the best of the best here. I know I learned last night, we were talking about small tunnels and high tunnels, and I actually got to get back. I'm a horticulturalist, and I felt bad because I did not know some of that technology and terminology, so I got to get back up on my horticultural skills. And so, and the importance of this conference is to connect and to learn from each other, to conduct some business, as we did last night. And I'm hoping that we will all learn something that we can take back to our respective farms or whatever you do in your everyday walk. But before I get into additional comments, I want to say welcome and thank you to some individuals, as I think this is my first and maybe my last time I will probably be before the mic. I definitely want to thank, and I can call her my friend, Dr. Shavonda Jacobs Young. I'm sorry about earlier. I didn't mean to drive past you. that's another one you can write down from the many years we've known each other. I'm going to make it up, though. I'm going to make it up. Thank you for being here. I know you have a busy schedule. Dr. Toombs, thank you for being here. I know your sacrifices and the things, and some of you may not know this, but we've adopted Dr. Toombs. She's a Jaguar. Yeah, just in case. She felt the full breath of Jaguar Nation last year at a football game. So thank you for being a friend. The president is actually at HBCU week, President Shields, so he will not be with us. I think Chairman Lawson will be in, but it may be later on in the day. And then we will have tomorrow. We'll have Commissioner Strain as well as probably the Lieutenant Governor, Nungesser. Also, I want to thank a fellow alum, and I like to call her Director Deidre Robert. We are so proud of her representing, being a state director for rural development, USDA rural development, and we'll hear from her, I think, at lunch as keynote. And so we're happy to have her as well. And also my executive team is sitting over here, and I wouldn't be standing here without those individuals. But this program, to me, going back to 2005, I think, represents what I would say is the foundational pillars of 1890 institutions. And our mission has not changed since 1890, and that is to provide educational and programs and opportunities for those who would otherwise not have them, right? That is that Alabama A&M, Southern, Alcorn was established for, now some of them were established before 1890, of course, including Alcorn and Alabama A&M. And then you have schools like West Virginia State that was established because of the Second Morale Act. But we still cater to those underserved communities, thus it's a reason for this conference. And believe it or not, the thing that everybody else learned, that during the pandemic, it elucidated some of those underserved conditions, whether it be nutrition, access, what have you. And who stepped up? 1890s. We were the ones with mobile units going to visit those black farmers so they can apply for those loans or assistance. Those were the institutions, the Southern University, the FAMU, the Fort Valley States. We were the individuals that were going to those communities to make sure they had access. So I'm very proud to have an extension program, which I think is the best program in the country, that are providing services as such. And so as we go on through this 1.5 day session, I hope that you're able to take away some of the knowledge of not only the extension program, but some of the individuals that we invited here to speak to you about topics that are very germane to what we're trying to do as a cooperative extension program. And before I take my seat, normally I wouldn't do this, but I have this long list of people to thank, and it's long. But when people give you money, the last thing you want to hear, you get that email, that text, Orlando, you didn't call my name. You didn't recognize my company. We just gave you $500,000. And then I will, a couple of comments. I'm proud of this fact, but last week, the Forest Service came on our campus, and Chief Randy Moore, a graduate of the College of Agriculture at Southern University, announced that we will be receiving $9.5 million for a grant. And we are really excited about that. But what he didn't know, and I brought to his attention, was that we received, the 1890 Foundation received $35 million, of which we get almost $6 million of that. And Dr. Toledo helped lead that effort, so we got that. And lastly, the board voted, was Dr. Marshall, a month ago or 2 months, our name changed, a month ago. So we're no longer the College of Agricultural, Family, and Consumer Sciences. We're now the College of Agricultural, Human, and Environmental Sciences. And And the reason for that is that uh, everything is climate, and I think you're going to hear about climate later on today. Everything is about climate and mitigation. So we had to make sure that we focus on the environment through our urban forestry program, through our environmental, our toxicology program, through all of our programs. Our whole research portfolio will have a loose coupling model that will be centered around climate smart agriculture and commodities. Even that sun beef that y'all had last night. Was it good? Those sliders? They are 100% grass fed. And not only that, there are certain crops that we're growing associated with that program that are carbon sequesters. So everything that we do in our agricultural programs, especially in research, will be centered around that. But I want to thank a number of people. Speaking of sun beef, I want to thank the individuals. Dr. Bagley, I don't see him, for providing the sun beef. Louisiana Seafood, those eggs were from Southern University. Were they good? You didn't even know that, did you? Yes. Entergy, National Black Growers Council, SARE, who's always, did ARD get a check from SARE yet? Okay, so I can say their name, SARE. Rural Development, NRCS, of course, NIFA. NIFA is well represented. Also, we have ERS, ARS, Forest Service, NAS, FNS, APHIS, Risk Management, and of course, the Office of the Secretary. And we had a representative during our Ag Week, Dr. Goldman was here. He did an outstanding job, and our students want him to come back. And because of our hospitality, Dr. Goldman wants to come back. And he would have been here for this meeting, but there are a number of announcements that are being made during Historically Black Colleges and Universities Week in D.C., and so he had to be there. Otherwise, he would be sitting here with us today. So with all of that, I want to just thank each of you for being here. Please take in this wealth of knowledge that we're going to be throwing at you over the next day and a half, and try to enjoy a little time you have at Alexandria. I know I did. I went out for some coffee and tea last night and some crumpets. It was really nice. And those of you who know me, yeah, so try to enjoy. It's a beautiful city, beautiful town. So enjoy Alexandria and safe travels back to wherever you're going. Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank Dr. McNews once again. So, food was good. Breakfast was great this morning, guys. Last night, I'm not gonna lie to you, I had more food than I needed with the sliders and the Louisiana shrimp and catfish and crawfish etouffee, like we do in Louisiana. So I'm going to read off the bio for Dr. Shavonda Jacobs-Young. Dr. Shavonda Jacobs-Young serves as the Undersecretary for Research, Education, and Economics, and as the USDA Chief Scientist. The mission area is comprised of more than 8,500 employees with a $4 billion budget across its 5 components organizations, including the Agricultural Research Services, Economic Research Services, National Agriculture Statistics Service, National Institute of Food and Agriculture, and Office of the Chief Scientist. That's a lot, man. Together, these organizations advance agricultural research, innovations, data, extension across a full range of agricultural issues, including climate smart agriculture, nutrition security, equity, and strengthening food supply chains. As Chief Scientist, Dr. Jacob Young advises the Secretary of Agriculture and the senior officials on scientific matters and chairs and USDA Science Council. which convenes all parts of USDA scientific enterprise. Prior to being appointed by President Biden to serve as the Undersecretary, Dr. Jacobs Young was administrator for ARS from 2014 to 2022. Prior to that role, she served as ARS Associate Administrator for National Programs, leading the research objectives for the entire agency. She also led the Office of International Research Programs, which is responsible for ARS liaisons with its international partners. From 2009 to 2012, Dr. Jacobs Young served as the inaugural OCS Director, where she is responsible for facilitating the coordination of scientific leadership across the department to ensure that research supported by and scientific advice provided to the Department of External Stakeholders, which were held to the highest standards of intellectual rigor and scientific integrity. She has also served as the acting director of NIFA and as a senior policy analyst for agriculture in the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy. Dr. Jacobs Young is a native of Georgia. She holds an MS and a PhD degree in wood and paper science and a BS degree in pulp and paper science and technology from North Carolina State University. She is a graduate of a American University Key Executive Leadership in Public Policy Implementation Program, and a proud fellow of both the American Association for the Advancement of Science and the National Academy of Public Administration. Let us welcome, with a big round of applause, Dr. Shavonda Jacobs Young.
Well, good morning, everybody. I think Dr. Phillips just spoke longer than my remarks. But that's all right. We're going to make sure we're going to make the remarks great so that I can live up to that bio that was just presented. Thank you so much, Dr. Phillips, for the introduction. Dr. McNeese, yep, I saw you. I saw you drive right past me as I was walking. But, I said, so it is so. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you to our hosts and colleagues at Southern University for having us here today to talk with you about some of the work that we are doing in USDA, and for me to announce a very special new enterprise that we have in partnership with Southern University. I bring greetings and well wishes from a successful and informative and enjoyable event from our Secretary Tom Vilsack, and my USDA colleagues, some of whom are here with us in Alexandria, Louisiana today. So if I could just ask everyone from USDA in the room to just stand up very quickly. You don't have to say anything, just stand up. That's right. So this is our USDA team. And I imagine throughout the meeting, we'll have several more joining us. And so I want you to see their faces because this is a wonderful opportunity to get some one-on-one engagement. Now, with a $3.2 million market value, the Secretary and I, along with the entire USDA team, recognize and treasure the fact that small farmers are the linchpin of U.S. agriculture. The $3.2 million market value of agriculture products sold in Louisiana alone, I know that you are critical to your state's health and well-being, too. What this says to me is that I am addressing a large group of small farmers who are playing a critical role in helping the state of Louisiana and our nation. With most of the population living in the U.S., living in the urban and semi-urban communities, it's easy to forget the importance, the range and reach of agricultural production in this country. I'm sure some of you have come across folks who have no idea where their food comes from. Small, family-owned farms account for 88% of all U.S. farms. According to the Census of Agriculture Farm Typology Report, you operate almost half of U.S. farmland and generate 21% of production. That 21% is crucial part of both our food supply and our national, regional, and local economies. And it's especially important in an agrarian-oriented state such as Louisiana. For example, small farms produce 57% of the poultry and eggs in the U.S. and 52% of hay. That's not small in anybody's book. And cattle, poultry, and grains, soybeans account for over 70% of small commercial farm production. Without you, our citizens would be spending significantly more for food and would have fewer healthy food choices. Now, in addition to supplying food, you help support the economic competitiveness and sustainability of rural and farm economies. You help protect and enhance our natural resources and the environment. You help serve as incubators for new enterprises and marketing systems and help maintain rural populations. So I thank you for your important contributions to our citizens and to our nation. In addition to the normal challenges of agricultural production, you're facing, especially small farmers are facing several additional challenges. You know all too well the problem and the destructive nature of a changing climate, which has brought about unprecedented droughts, floods, fires, and storms to every corner of our country. Climate change can affect agriculture directly. We see greater plant and animal stress resulting from increased fluctuations in air and soil temperature. Growing seasons are shifting and changing. Water availability is an issue. We see both floods and droughts, which are just a component of the more severe weather events that we're all facing. In some cases, in places where we've never had those types of weather events before. Another challenge that you face is profitability. Since 1938, the number of farms in the United States has been declining. This may be because it's increasingly harder to make a living on the farm. In fact, the majority of small and mid-sized farmers have to have second jobs just to make ends meet. Does that sound familiar? I believe that with great challenge, however, comes great opportunity. And Secretary Vilsack has charged us with thinking anew to make agriculture not just the most productive in the world, but also profitable for all. Not sustainable for some, but for all. Not resilient for some, but for all. Now, over the last 2 years, we've laid the groundwork to focus American agriculture on productivity, profitability, sustainability, and resilience. We've looked for ways to create new and more valuable commodities so that farmers can benefit from markets that exist. And we believe that there is an opportunity to build systems where many can succeed. We can do this by creating more options to generate revenue and profit opportunities, by encouraging and increasing the number of revenue streams available to farmers. So that they get income not only from selling crops and livestock, but through additional sources. The Climate Smart Agriculture and Forestry Commodity Partnership Initiative is a $3 billion investment. 141 projects involve operations of all sizes, all producer groups, and all commodities. We're linking commodities produced with climate smart practices to market opportunities. Climate smart commodities not only create a higher value commodity for producers, they also allow farmers to qualify for the benefits of ecosystem markets, a new revenue stream. This will lead to environmental and natural resources gains. And we've heard a little bit from Chancellor Dean McMean this morning about how important environment is to all of us, climate is to all of us, and how resilience is going to make an important difference. We believe that this will also lead to innovative and sustainable new products and product streams, which will sustain rural communities beyond the farm. Now, I think the key point in this vision that resonates with me the most is this. We need to find ways for farmers to benefit all farmers, not just a few farmers. That's because we need our rural communities to remain strong and for the entire system to be resilient and diversified. Science will drive us forward as it has before. Agricultural research often receives little publicity, but we reap the benefits of it every day. I know it's easier to get excited about shuttles going to the moon and some of the other things that are very much in our view on the television and very, very important. However, we know that the U.S. has a proven record of making investments in research that pays off for farmers and our economy. Partially because of these investments, between 1948 and 2019, total agriculture productivity output in the United States grew by 142%. This rise cannot be attributed to increases in ag land or labor. Both variables declined over that same period of time. This rise stems instead from the adoption of wide-ranging series of publicly funded innovations in crop and livestock breeding, nutrient use, pest management, and farm and field management. These new practices yield significant dividends. Now, USDA's Economic Research Service found that agriculture productivity and our agricultural research and development investments from 1900 to 2011 generated on average, just listen to this, $20 in benefits in the US for every $1 of spending. Now, I was in Biloxi, Mississippi with some of the folks in this room. If I had gotten $20 for every dollar I put in the slot machine, I'd have been happy. I did not. But I would take this kind of payout every day, any day. Now, another challenge facing small farmers in this country is the need for preparing the next generation to lead the future of agriculture. According to the most recent agriculture census, and I hope all of you have filled out your ag census forms. I'm looking, see who's looking down. All right, so important. The average age of all U.S. producers in 2017 was 57.5 years, up 1.2 years from 2012. The census is done every 5 years. And it's continuing a long-term trend of aging in the U.S. producer population. Now, fully 34% of those farmers were 65 years old and above. Let that sink in for just a moment. Beginning farmers, those with 10 or fewer years of experience, also were older, with an average age of 46. There was a lovely couple we were walking behind last night that said, "We're new farmers." Hi, couple. we like to see people coming into farming. But clearly the data show that our nation is facing a looming problem. More and more farmers are at or fast approaching retirement age. Simply put, we need to build up the pipeline for the next generation for the ag sector fast, or we're in trouble. We need to up our game in terms of recruiting and training the next generation. For this, we're going to need all hands on deck, especially the educators and mentors in the room. I can tell you from my own life, when a teacher suggested that I consider graduate school after college, something I had never even thought of before, how important one moment of inspiration can be to a student. Okay, the last thing I want to talk to you about today is you. The last part of my remarks is about something we know all too well in USDA, food. Specifically, how healthy food and nutrition can prevent cancer and chronic diseases. I want to share up front that this is also important to me personally. I have firsthand experiences that drive me to pursue nutrition and healthy eating for a better life with a passion. You heard from Dr. Phillips that I grew up in Georgia, and we know that all parts of the South have some of the highest rates of obesity in the country. We know that obesity and a lack of healthy choices can lead to disease and premature death. And I understand the social, economic, and cultural issues surrounding food choices in the South. My family's been troubled with disease, heart disease, diabetes, kidney disease, hypertension, cancer. My father died when he was 51 years old from cancer. My grandfather and grandmother on my mother's side died in their 50s. My dad's mother was dead before I was born. My mom's sister and brother died in their 50s. And most recently, my sister died of COVID at age 50 because she had vulnerabilities. The pandemic elucidated some of the health vulnerabilities we face as communities. As jarring as this may seem, it has been my personal experience and unfortunately may resonate with some of you in the room today. It can lead one to believe that there isn't much that we can do, that longevity and high quality health is beyond our reach. So some may behave in ways that entrench this belief. Some people may think, I might as well eat what I want. Give me an extra spoon or something back there. I almost had an extra spoon of grits this morning, y'all. I know. I may as well eat what I want, drink what I want, live how I want. And this is a context in which I grew up in. And I'm guessing that some of you did too. A context inclusive of hypertension, diabetes, stroke, kidney disease, and cancer. Here's what I've learned that I want to share with you. It has been estimated that as many as a third of cancer cases could be prevented with diet and nutrition and lifestyle choices. Lifestyles with healthy dietary choices, physical activity, and weight management not only help reduce the risk of cancer, but may also contribute to the prevention of obesity and other chronic diseases, such as type 2 diabetes and cardiovascular disease. And I'm standing before you, and so if I asked you to raise your hand, who in this room has type 2 diabetes? Who knows someone who has type 2 diabetes? You know, how many of us have hypertension? You know, how many of us know someone with kidney disease where we're going to dialysis 3 days a week, making sure that family member gets to dialysis 3 days a week and caring for them when they come home? And it's a way of life. My point is knowledge is power. My call to action for you is to be as proactive as possible in learning about what you eat and how it affects your health and overall well-being. This means, among other things, learning as much as you can about preventing the conditions for which you may be at risk and helping your loved ones to do the same. I remember, I think I shared this in probably Laredo, Texas. It was summer of 2021, and my sister had died earlier that year. And as you can imagine, having a family full of we had a number of people sick with COVID. She unfortunately passed away, but they were all very sick in Georgia, where they just were not being very careful in my household. But that summer, even with medication, my A1C was 10.5. Anybody with diabetes in this room knows what that means. Knowledge is power. So if I wasn't getting my testing done, I wouldn't have known it was 10.5 because I didn't really feel different, except my feet were a little numb. Knowledge is power. So I want to issue my call to action again for this room. Be as proactive as possible in learning about how what you eat affects your health and checking on your overall well-being. This means, among other things, that we can learn as much as we can about preventing the conditions for which we may be at risk and helping our loved ones do the same. I'm here today to say my A1C is 5.3. Yes, I celebrated that. So just as we empower you with the knowledge our science produces to grow the world's most abundant, safe, affordable food supply, I ask you to empower yourself with the knowledge our science produces on nutritious foods and their link to better health outcomes for you. If knowledge is power, implementation, putting that knowledge into action, is success. So please take care of you. And I'm hoping that we have a new and better way to equip you with the knowledge you may need in a way that you can use it. Let me back up for just a minute here and tell you about an effort we have underway in USDA called the Agricultural Science Center of Excellence in Nutrition and Diet for Better Health, ASCEND for Better Health. Spurred on by President Biden's bold cancer moonshot effort, a coordinated push across government to end cancer as we know it. I and Secretary Vilsack see how vital a role food can play in beating cancer and addressing many of the other diseases and chronic health issues that we face. The idea behind Ascend is that by creating a flexible structure for coordination, synchronization, and cooperation, it will inject new life into our understanding of the capacity of food to defeat cancer. Over the past year, we've had listening sessions across the country, starting right here in Louisiana, meeting with members of the African American community. Thank you to our partners at Southern University. We met with the Hispanic community in Laredo, Texas, a city that's 96% Hispanic. We met with the tribal community in Bismarck, North Dakota, and a youth community through the 4-H organization. And we know that different parts of our population can have different nutritional needs, different traditions, and different contexts that makes their optimal diets unique. So the idea here was to meet with communities where they are and learn about your lived experiences with food. What we learned across all the community is that lifestyle choices, knowledge, lack of initiative, and health issues are the main reasons people identify for struggling to improve their health through nutrition. This is what was shared with us by the participants. We learned that our social environments and cultural influences are important in our food choices. And so we know that food brings people together. Just this morning, that beautiful breakfast brought us all together. So we conclude that the path to improved health through nutrition and diet may vary. That we need to meet people where they are. Through people you know and trust, and with knowledge that is tailored to your community. Remember what I said earlier. The knowledge produced by science is nothing if it isn't used. Words sitting in a book on a shelf are not going to improve the health of our family and friends. So, today, I'm so excited and proud to announce the first Nutrition Hub. You know, a hub is most frequently used in computers and information technology. A hub is a hardware device used to connect multiple devices in the network. And so our Nutrition Hub is designed to connect multiple information sources around diet and nutrition, and to bring you what you and your family need to make healthy choices. This first Nutrition Hub is targeted especially for the African American community. This partnership between USDA and, again, our partners at Southern University through our partnership, we will strive to search out, digest, and reformat information from the best and latest science into digestible pieces of information that you can use. And we will seek out your community networks and organizations to partner and reach you where you are. I'm so excited about this idea, a hub to give us what we need when we seek it, and in a way, it is useful to us. This pilot nutrition hub will be the first of its kind, with our next hubs focusing in on other specific communities. I came here today to announce the first nutrition hub for the African American community for a specific reason. As small farmers, you are our community. The food you produce, the rural way of life that you maintain for our communities, these are key in connecting us all to the food we eat. The food you produce is the food we eat. The food you produce gives us life and health. So I wanted to come here to emphasize the connection you have to our communities and to our nutrition. So let me close by again thanking you for inviting me to be here today. I've enjoyed being a part of this terrific event, and I'm excited for the new Nutrition Hub co-hosted by USDA and Southern University, which will partner with your communities to bring us the information and knowledge that we need to make our best health choices. Thank you for all you do every day for Louisiana and our nation. I look forward to being here next year to hear how you've used all that wonderful information that we have. Maybe you can share your story with us. Thank you for growing all of our food, and I wish you a successful remainder of the program.
Another round of applause for Dr. Shavonda. This was what we intended the conference to be started as. So thank you guys. So as you can see in your agenda, if you have a bag in your folder, you will find the agenda. And that agenda is also online. If you have registered, thank you. Register. If you haven't had a chance to go to the registration table, make sure you get there. Another thing, our concurrent session starts at 10 o'clock. But in the meantime, you're able to go to the exhibit room where we have a ton of vendors you can spend time with, talking to, and engaging with. Thank you, and let's get to the conference, guys.